Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. My name is Stephen Hackbarth. Today I'm joined with Isabella Stevens, and we are at Paragon Honda and Acura in Queens, New York, and we're talking about data today. We have an expert panel featuring David Lampel from Dealer Wing, Maury Martin from Dynatron. We've got Dave Perry from Blink AI and Chris Limber from Reynolds and Reynolds. So, yeah, we've got a great topic of data today, and Isabella, you want to take it away?
Yeah, really exciting topic. I'll start with you, Maureen.
Okay.
So, how should dealerships focus on the right data points without overwhelming their teams or the decision-making process?
I've been 40 years in automotive, and no dealer has ever said to me, Maureen, I need more data. What they will always say to me is, I don't have visibility. I don't have clarity in my data to take action. So I think what is really important is you've got to break that data down to understand how does it move, what it is you're trying to accomplish in the dealership. And we kind of call it a data fog. On the fixed operations side, one of the biggest issues we have is opcode usage. It drives a lot of other services that the dealership is doing. And so when we can use AI, we can use machine learning to really help us to make that data really clear, really accurate. Data is power, but it's only as powerful as it is actionable.
Incredible. Dave, what are your thoughts on that?
I believe what Maureen said is absolutely correct. And, we at Blink AI, the way we think about it is we're like a system of action that sits on top of the systems of record. So there's lots of tools that the dealers have that presents actionable information, but now somebody's got to take that action. And a lot of times that information sits dormant, and we know that time equals decay in the information there. So what we try to do is act on that data as quickly as possible so that you're achieving the results that the dealership's looking for.
Incredible. Is there anything that Reynolds and Reynolds make sure that they really focus on the right pieces of data?
Absolutely. Yeah. With so much data out there, it's actually slowing some dealers down if they try to utilize it all, unless you can unify it and clean the data. So clean data is going to help you move faster. And if you've got it unified in one single place, that can help dealers make much faster and better decisions. And that's something we've been able to do with our unified customer profile in almost every facet of Reynolds, allowing you to, know everything about the customer at your fingertips and make it useful.
Yeah, having all of that clean data is so important. And that leads me to my next question, which is how can dealerships use data more intelligently to create a smoother and ultimately more personalized customer experience and customer journey? Let's start with you.
So the importance of data is always going to start with the customer history. So once you have the customer history and you have all of the analytics organized based on that, then you can use the data to customize how you're going to communicate to each person going forward. Different people respond to different signals and different channels across the board. So if you are using the data in the system or if you're using outside data, as long as the data is accurate and clean and you have a clear history of that customer, then you can use the data to communicate in various channels exactly the way the customer wants to be communicated to. And that's a huge win across the board.
Yes. Where you at, Pastor?
When I think about data is how do you use that data to really, really empower and get your team to really elevate what they're doing. And so from our perspective at Dynatron, when you're able to take that clarity of data and you're able to use it to help your service advisors to understand, where are they leaving something on the table and not complying with what it is that you need, but also where have we overcharged? That just is important because that's going to impact client retention. So it's that delicate balance of not leaving anything on the table and having superior customer retention. So how you use that data to develop, is it a knowing issue or a doing issue? Those are two completely different coaching situations.
Yeah. And Dave, you have thoughts on that?
Well, I do. I don't want to be a pessimist, but oftentimes hoping that you get cleaner data is just like a wish that never comes true.
Hope is not a strategy. That's what my boss used to always tell me.
So what we try to do is we try to integrate with as many data points as possible and let our AI kind of determine what's the most probable set of situations so that we can take that action quickly and getting the customer into the dealership or to get the alert satisfied if it came in from the connected car alert or whatever the case may be.
Chris, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, I guess just about there's so much data we have about customers, but it's not actionable data. When it's all over the place, you have to search to find it. We see our dealerships end up asking customers for information we already know about them. And in a perfect world, meeting the Amazon expectation, it'd be great if they had all that at their fingertips, where they would say, I know which vehicle you're driving, you're coming in for this service, and we might even suggest a service they declined in the past. And we're getting the upsells that we missed the last time, and we become a trusted advisor, as opposed to treating them as if someone who has never been in the dealership before.
That's incredible. Now, I just want to do one more speed round, okay? Quick question. What is one piece of data that dealerships should really be focusing on right now? Starting with you, Chris, and ending with you.
Duplicates. A messy name file slows us down, it costs us money, and it's a place that we need to focus on.
Dave?
Well, I would say listen to the car. The connected car alerts that tell you a lot about what's going on in the vehicle, and they're timely and they're accurate. So use those to the highest degree that you can.
Incredible, Marie.
I would say work mix. Dealership groups today are out doing acquisitions, and they're doing acquisitions across domestic, import, luxury. And each one of those has a very different approach to their work mix. So you might have more repair versus doing maintenance type work. You have to really understand that to understand how you are able to hit all of your metrics that you really want to do and reinvest so that you can create those frictionless, which we've talked a lot about today. So I would say understanding your work mix is something that most dealerships and groups do not really focus in on. You need to have the data broken down that way.
Incredible.
With all of the different sources of data that each dealership has access to, I think one of the most critical things, and one of the things that we focus on at Dealer Wing, is aggregating all of that data together, deduping all of that data, and then working with all of the options out there to clean the data as best as possible. When you do that, because all of the different data sources use different parameters and different filters, there is no universal code for how the data is stored or how it's searched. So one of the things that you can do, if you have the ability to aggregate all of that data together, bring it all in, and then clean it up as best as possible, you have the best chance of maximizing not only your workflow, but also the dollars that you're spending.
Incredible.
And thank you guys so much for tuning into the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We had an amazing discussion about data today. Isabella, your thoughts?
I mean, I love your guys' perspectives on it. It's really just, like Maureen said, that's the theme of today, frictionless, right? Making the experience just so much better for the customer and for the dealership. And so we thank you guys so much for spending the time with us today. Again, that's Isabella Stevens and Stephen Hackbarth at the Paragon Honda and Acura dealership. See you soon.